I mean, I took it off face one day, whatever the moon.
When you got certainly,
We suggested to NCP that there was a ticketing culture at Sunderland.
It's nothing whatsoever to do with ticket numbers. So if individual PAs feel happier that they've issued 11 tickets on one day than the previous day when they only issued 7, well, it's not really something that anybody needs to be concerned about. That same PA the next day might be patrolling a residential street where he'd be very unlikely ever to issue tickets. So, and the truth is that tickets are issued when cars are parked illegally, not because there's some mystery target that we have to hit.
This man ought to be gold dust for a parking attendant who likes tickets. He's desperate to get them.
You want a ticket for the vehicle over there? M3, yeah.
Not allowed.
You're not allowed to?
Been told not to.
I want a ticket. I need a ticket.
It's hard to believe that anyone wants a ticket, but Neil Heron does. He's a metric martyr. He fought unsuccessfully for the right to sell fruit and veg in pounds and ounces. Now he's racked up 120 tickets and paid for none of them. He wants to provoke the council into fighting him on appeal.
They haven't got it right from the very beginning. The incompetence and ineptitude is just all pervasive through the whole of parking services and NCP.
Parking restrictions have to be backed by one of these, a traffic order. It states precisely where you can and can't park and what the lines and signs should be. Get just one bit of it wrong and you shouldn't be given a ticket. Today, Neil Heron is parked on a single yellow line in St Thomas Street. It's a test.
This is the most heavily ticketed street in Sunderland, we believe, but we did get a phone call that they weren't issuing this location because they didn't have a valid traffic order. So I asked NCP, asked the council, and they said, yes, we have got a valid traffic order, we're still issuing. I says, I'll be there tomorrow then. As you can see, they failed to issue a ticket to the car.
A few days later, it looks as though he was right. The council's been busy with a paintbrush.
Yep, what we've got here, it's now a single yellow line. The other day, this was a double yellow line. Same here. Yep, incorrectly marked disabled bays now appear to be marked correctly.
But what about all the people who got tickets before the paint job?
Everybody who's been issued with a ticket here, if there is no valid traffic order, should be entitled to the money back. If you park outside the parking bay a couple of inches, you'll get ticketed. Now, if the law doesn't concern itself with trifles, well, it does in the instance where you're going to penalise a motorist, the local authority has to obey the same laws. And that means that they have to get the tickets correct, they have to get the lines and the signs correct, otherwise, it's not fair.
To operate a complicated parking system, everything has to be spot on. Sadly, in Sunderland, it seems a lot of the paperwork has gone to pot. This is a list of hundreds of dodgy lines and signs. The council had to put these right before it took over decriminalised parking 3 years ago. It assured the government everything would be sorted. It wasn't. They're still dealing with some of the mistakes, and even some of the corrections are wrong.
You want to stop us parking over there? I've just been having a look, mate, and the lines are crap. I've just put them lines on this morning, you know. But they're not tied up or anything.
The senior parking attendant even says staff should bluff when the signs aren't enforceable.
Who cannot issue himself by Blackford Street now?
Well, you can tell that they asked them to move on, but you've got more.
That's it. You're bluffing. They call you bluff. You sleep.
Who does call you bluff?
But once you start, once you start going, excuse me, sir, do you realise you're on a skill 6 actually? But when you walk the front of the car, start going, they don't go quick to move.
Parking in Sunderland can be a bit like marching with the Grand Old Duke of York, up and down. 1 minute a street is ticketed, the next it isn't. Neil Heron has found one of those streets. He's about to have a showdown with Tony Coatsworth, an NCP manager.
Mr. Coatsworth. Yes. Finally meet, eh?
Yes, how do you do?
How are you doing? Right, we have a yellow line here which isn't correctly terminated, as we can see. Ends in the roadworks. For any motorist having a look at this, they're going to be thinking this isn't enforced. Now, I've been issued with tickets here, then you stopped enforcement.
When we first made the decision, the roadworks were around that corner. We've now moved the cage area further out into Foyle Street.
It's only been moved by a couple of metres.
It's now in Foyle Street.
That's why they're not ticketing, but nobody knows because it's a secret.
What we're trying to prove here is the law is a two-way street. If the motorists have to obey the law, well, so do local authorities.
But the next day, in the same street, an amazing turnaround. Neil Heron gets a ticket.
It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. I didn't think we'd actually get one here today. So I can have an apology in writing. I'll knock this across by email this afternoon. Yeah, good stuff. Cheers, Kel. Bye. Mr. Coatsworth gave wrong advice out yesterday. Mr. Gilderoy, who is also a senior NCP official, confirms that I shouldn't have been given the advice that I could park here. And the restrictions are still in force. This is evidence that what we've been saying all along, there are no management controls in all of this. There is no communication between Sunderland Civic Centre and NCP. They're enforcing willy-nilly, without any rule of law. These are modern-day Dick Turbans.
But this muddle may have led to a more serious problem, a deliberate attempt to collect money from tickets when it was known they weren't legally enforceable. And the people most in the dark are the public. 3 years ago, the council realised it couldn't ticket cars parked in taxi ranks. There weren't valid traffic orders for them. A former attendant has told us they were ordered to keep quiet. An actor speaks the attendant's words.
We were told the money wasn't being refunded. It wasn't going to be public knowledge. We were well warned.
The council told NCP any information passed on in team briefings must not be passed on to the public, because it had heard a PA had told a taxi firm that they could no longer enforce taxi bays. NCP were ordered not to issue any more tickets, but they did, another 78 times in fact. Our source says an NCP manager ordered the attendants to continue issuing, knowing the tickets weren't enforceable.
There were certain ones of us told to issue in the taxi ranks, but not to disableds because they always appeal. If they sent the payment in, NCP automatically processed it and kept the money. If an appeal came in, NCP stopped it and cancelled the ticket before it got to the council. That way the council wouldn't know what we were doing.
NCP say this is utter fantasy.
There was an issue that was widely reported again about 18 months ago, this issue with the taxi ranks, which where there were some tickets issued, penalty charge notices issued in error. One particular parking attendant who had been told that we weren't able to issue under that specific regulation because of inappropriate drafting of the traffic regulation order, and until it was changed we couldn't enforce, nonetheless continued to enforce. So that was embarrassing. We're talking about a handful of tickets out of thousands and thousands of tickets issued, and as far as I'm aware all of the people who received those tickets had their money refunded.
It added in a statement that the council were fully informed at all times and they'd publicised the issue in a transparent and open way. Back on the beat, it's time for a break. In fact, it's often time for a break. Our undercover man discovered having a ciggy seems to be a highlight of the job. They're supposed to log each street they patrol into this handheld computer. That's what the contract with the council says they must do. But Sunderland seems to be patrolled by phantom attendants. They click onto streets they haven't patrolled while they have a fag. They click on streets they can't be bothered to patrol. This is our attendant who likes to get a free pint.
I just stood in the middle of it and I'm just going click, 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 click. I'm gonna.
I'll just click them as I walk past.
41.
I've got the beat. Me? I don't even take them in order. I'm just going as they are in the handle. I mean, I'm doing General Graham Street, and General Graham Street's half a mile up the road.
But our